Have you ever compared how long it takes you to write a prompt versus how long it takes for you to just say it? It's the same request, same amount of detail, but talking is always so much faster. Typing makes you overthink, whereas when you say it, you can communicate a lot more detail faster. This video is about a free tool that addresses that challenge directly and about why fixing it actually matters. Here's what nobody tells you about prompting. Typing is an editing process. You write a sentence, you read it back, you second guess the phrasing, you delete something, you read it back again, it doesn't make sense, so you restart it all over again. Now that's fine if it's an email to your boss, but it's a bad process for briefing an AI model. Because the thing that makes these models so useful is the context. The messy, specific, and slightly rambling version of what you're trying to say is exactly what AI needs to hear. And typing strips all of that away without even you noticing it. But speaking doesn't have that problem. When you talk, you don't self-edit in real time. You just say the thing, you include the asides. The context that you would have cut out if you were writing becomes so helpful when you're speaking directly to AI models. That's not noise. For an AI model, that's the good part. And there's a speed argument too. FluidVoice's own data puts speaking at about 3.7 times faster than typing. I haven't independently reviewed that figure. It's their number, not mine. But anecdotally, I've found talking a lot more beneficial than straight typing with AI. I must admit, I do interchange between the two, but I find that when I don't have a solid idea and I'm trying to discover, talking using Whisperflow or FluidVoice has been incredibly helpful. I'm giving more context in less time and with less effort. That's the whole pick. So FluidVoice is built by Altic. It's an open source tool that you can download by coming to this domain here. So I'll leave that in the description, and it's incredibly easy to download and set up. What I would suggest doing is first downloading this for Mac. And then what I would also suggest doing is opening up your terminal and copying and pasting this script straight in and then clicking enter. So I've already done this. I won't do it again for the sake of this video, but it's pretty straightforward. So copy this script in and it will install FluidVoice on your computer. Now, the second thing you want to do is once you've downloaded the installation file, you want to click on that and then it will open up a screen like this. So what I would suggest doing is dragging FluidVoice directly into the applications folder, then clicking on FluidVoice here. So you'll be able to install FluidVoice to your computer, and this will run you through the instructions of how to do it. So I'll take you through it. So click on next, and then you'll just need to select your language. I'm going to select English, obviously, and then click on continue. And then it's going to ask me to pick my engine. So the one that I picked was this one, Blazing Fast English. So you can see the differences between the models here. And then there's an option down the bottom here to be able to pick a different model. I compared both models and went with the one that they recommended. Probably need to activate this. So obviously I've already downloaded and activated that model. It took about a couple of minutes to do so, but this took the longest part of the installation. Once I got past this point, it was very straightforward. So once again, already downloaded that. It looks like 442 megs. So decent size file, but it's totally worth it. Click continue. And then what you'll need to do is just set up your microphone and then set up your typing access. Typically what you'll need to do here is go into privacy and security, and you'll find the option microphone. And then you'll see FluidVoice here. It'll likely be toggled off. If it's toggled on already, I would just toggle it off and on again. And that will give FluidVoice the permissions to be able to control your microphone. And then under privacy and security again, navigate over to accessibility, and then you'll see the same option here for FluidVoice. So just toggle that on, and then you'll be on your way to using this tool. Alrighty, so mine's already set up, and I'll move forward. So now it's asking me to configure what key I would like to press to be able to use FluidVoice. It's already selected at default that I would use the right option key. So I'm just going to leave that the way it is. I think that's a pretty good setup for me. And the way that it works is I'm just going to press it once. And then at the bottom of the screen, you can see it's popped up with a dictate box. And then I'm just talking normally, and it is capturing everything that I'm saying. And then all you would need to do is press the option key once more, and then it's going to save everything that I said. And I'll be able to use that for talking directly to AI. I can use it for inputting content into a particular field. I mainly use this to communicate with AI. Alrighty, so then I'm just going to continue. There's a couple of more instructions here around how to use the tool. So you can use the word new line, and then it will move everything over to the new line if you're writing an email or a message. And then it's saying here as well that if you were to correct yourself mid-sentence, then it would be a polished and synthesized output. It wouldn't print all of the corrections that you've made mid-sentence. And then we can also see there's some other formatting that they would do as well. If you were to be talking about a list, a shopping list, for example, then it would just list everything out as a bullet instead of it being in one sentence with commas. So you can see how it is leveraging an AI engine in the back end to format all of your text as you speak directly. So this is an option that you have. I'm going to go without because I normally just use these sorts of tools to communicate directly with AI. So that normally just happens directly in model. Alrighty, so I've landed on the getting started page, and the app is all ready for me to set up. So if I navigate over to the settings here, one of the things that I like to do, because I use this all of the time, so I don't want to have that awkward moment of clicking the option button and it not showing up. I always launch this at startup. And then also another thing that I've activated here is that when it does launch, I'm happy for this just to be running in the background. I don't need to see this dialogue every single time it shows up. And then I can also hide it from the dock as well, just so that it's subtly sitting in the background. It's not a window that I need to always make sure that it's activated. And I definitely recommend going through these settings to see if there's anything else that applies to you, but that's all that I've really done to set this up, just to make it more in line with my personal workflow. But yeah, it might be worth having a look at this to see what is ideal for you. Now, we already put these settings in place at the beginning when we were going through the setup. So once again, I went with this blazing fast. So it's an NVIDIA model. So as you can see, high speed, high accuracy. I haven't tested any of the other models that they have. Maybe I'll do so in another video, but I've been using this for the last couple of weeks and it's been a good experience for me. One thing that I'll also probably do in another video as well is I haven't deeply explored these areas either. So these AI enhancements. So it might be something that would be worth exploring, but once again, maybe one for another video. And then also as well, there's some other customizations that you can make as well. So you can train it purely on your voice. It looks like you can add a dictionary and custom words. So if you want to customize it to common words or phrases that you're using, it might be worth doing that. But once again, I think just setting up the app, getting everything working, getting used to this new way of interacting with AI and computers is probably the first step. And then all of these other configurations will probably come as you start getting more experience and as you find new ways that you want to push this tool further. So I'll leave it up to you in your own exploration. Alrighty, so I'll take this tool for a spin. So I've got this free Clinical Scribe for Physiotherapist project that I have loaded up. This is purely for writing soap notes that are ready to copy and paste into Clinico. So that's the purpose of this, purely for a physiotherapist or an allied health professional who wants to write soap notes or wants to write clinical notes that they'll then enter into a software like Clinico, some sort of practice management tool that has patients and then it has clinical history. That's what this project is all about. And this is a perfect complementary tool for FluidVoice because it means that instead of you having to manually type out notes and going through that process of rethinking and typing again, you can really just talk to this and paraphrase exactly what happened in the appointment and communicate it a lot faster. You can imagine if you've only got a couple of minutes before your next patient walks in, this is going to help accelerate your workflow to the next level. And I'll just quickly demonstrate how that might work. So I'm going to click the option button. Right, so John came in today, right knee been kneeling, about 3 weeks now, no specific injury, just crept up on him. He bumped his knee running up pretty quick, was doing 15 Ks a week and jumped to 30. So that's your loading issue right straight away. Pain anterior, worse on stairs, worse squatting, worse sitting, too long in the car. His rating at 5 out of 10 at its worst, settles to about 1 or 2 at rest, no locking, no giving way. So we're not too worried about anything. No swelling that he's noticed either. Had a look, no infusion, no deformity. You can see a bit of quad wasting on the right compared to the left. Palpated around the peripatellar region, but joint lines clean. Full range, active and passive, no pain through range, which is good. Patellofemoral compression test positive. That's your key one. Luckman's, valgus, varus, all negative. So ligaments and menisci are looking fine. Quads are a 4 out of 5. Glute meds a 4 out of 5, and that's side 2. And I picked up on a bit of VMO lag. Got him to a single leg squat and step up, reproduced the pain both times, so that's fitting the picture. So overall, patellofemoral pain syndrome, pretty classic, driven by training load spike plus some strength deficits through quads and hip. Talked to him about pulling the running back 30 to 50% for a couple of weeks, gave him a home program, quad test, VMO work, glute med activation, taped him today just to settle things down, bringing him back in a week to check progress, and if he's not moving in the right direction in 4 to 6 weeks, we'll think about a sport physician referral. So I'm going to hit option again, and then we'll see the stream of consciousness that I've just outlaid using FluidVoice is in Claude, and I can hit this send button, and then we'll see what we come back with. Alrighty, so we can see that it is thinking about the assessment. It's reading through the documents that are saved in the knowledge base, and then it's providing the soap note here. So you can see initial assessment, so fictional demo patient John. We can see that he is not yet saved into Clinico. So this is a new patient. So we can see that presenting complaints, so right knee pain, anterior 3 weeks duration, insidious onset with no specific mechanism of injury or trauma. So we can see it has the rating there, and it's providing all of the details that I laid out in that quick interaction, supported by FluidVoice, and then it's talking about the onset coincides with rapid increase in running from 15 Ks a week to 30 Ks a week, 100% increase. And then it's got some information here about the complaint history. And then it talks about the medical history. So it's flagging that it wasn't actually captured in that session. So we'll likely need to either add that in or just leave that as not captured. And then it goes into the assessment, and then it talks about the treatment and the treatment plan. I guess where this really pays off is that it's not when you're sitting at your desk and you have the time to really think through what you're trying to communicate, because we all have moments where we need to do that. That's obviously an important part of thinking, is to be able to write and think deeply about things and correcting. But when you have those moments where you're in a hurry and you're trying to get something done quickly, and maybe you haven't completely formed your thoughts yet, you haven't formed those conclusions, then I think that this process can be really helpful. But really, this is trial and error. It's up to the individual. I think that there are those moments when you are pacing around and you haven't really got your thoughts together and you need to just get something down. I guess in the olden days, would normally jot down with a pen and paper. But I think that this is an alternative way of doing it that's powered by technology. And it is a way that we can, as I demonstrated, partner this up with an AI tool to not only quickly get our ideas down, but then to also quickly extract meaning from it. A good analogy of this as well is that when you're having a conversation with a colleague, you're actively problem solving as you're talking through different things. This is another way to be able to get the same benefits of having that collaborative approach to problem solving by talking out loud, working through different things, getting perspective from someone else, and using AI as you would typically use a colleague as a thinking partner. And it also changes what a good prompt is. We talk so much about prompt engineering and context engineering, but this is a way that you can, instead of actually engineering the prompt, you're just giving it all of the context that you have, everything that you know about a particular situation. You're giving AI all of that context. And then what happens after that is document it somewhere. You may want to document this into your second brain, or you may want to save it to a tool like Clinico. You may need to store it somewhere for safekeeping. So I think that with tools like this, these tools are so new. So we'll start to figure out what are the use cases that work for you. What are the situations in your work life that you need to use these sorts of tools to help accelerate things and to help increase your productivity. So I definitely recommend downloading this completely for free, easy to set up. I haven't entered a credit card whatsoever. I haven't paid a cent. So I definitely recommend giving this one a try and see how it can enhance your workflow. So once again, FluidVoice is free, completely open source, runs on your Mac. And I guess the honest version of this video is that downloading and installing the tool is the easy part. I think the behavior change is probably where a lot of the challenges lie. Actually remembering that you have the tool downloaded and remembering it to use it and experiencing the value from it is probably where most of the friction happens. And I guess talking to Claude like you're talking to a person can be quite awkward because you're essentially talking to yourself. So it can feel a bit strange to begin with. But yeah, this is all part of the process. But look, if you got value out of this, please drop a like and a subscribe. I'm going to leave all the links that I spoke about today in the description for you to check out. And if you have any questions, please drop a comment and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.